But as other speakers have said, part of this battle is, of course, to expose the deception that society can't afford to make decent pension provision for public sector workers. We have to expose the lie that society cannot afford decent public services. Expose the deception that's repeated by this government and by much of the media. And I'll just give one or two facts in answer to that and to help expose the lie. In the 6th richest economy on the planet, where we lose as a result of tax avoidance and tax evasion of the super rich, we lose to the public purse £120 billion each year. And it hasn't gone unnoticed by public sector trade unionists and the wider public that you may have noticed that the bankers, aside from their salaries and aside from the profits made by the banks, the bank senior executives awarded themselves last Christmas £7 billion in bonuses. Well, I'll tell you, we did a calculation with our colleagues in the Tax Justice Network to tell you what £7 billion, what the Christmas bonus to the bankers would actually pay for. It would pay for 20,000 more staff in revenue and customs to collect the uncollected tax. 4,000 admin and support workers to help them. 1,500 new doctors, GPs. 25,000 more nurses. 10 new hospitals at £312 million ahead. 20 new fire stations. 1,500 extra firefighters, 200 new fire engines, 50 new swimming pools, 100 new school buildings at £26 million each, 20,000 extra teachers, 50 new libraries, 100 Coast Guards, 4,000 extra advisors in the Job Centre Plus, and you get change out of the £7 billion. If that doesn't explain the negotiations, and we remain open to serious negotiations with this government, but we're not going to go through a charade where they're not prepared to shift ground on any of the fundamental principles. We continue to negotiate in good faith, but it needs to be remembered, before the negotiations even started, the government unilaterally changed the indexation formula for calculating the value of the scheme from RPI to CPI. The effect of that is that cut in one fell swoop the value of public sector pensions by 20%. But we should also remember that it also cut by over £100 billion the value of public sector pension schemes. And we're here today. This strike is of course about protecting the conditions of our members. Of course it's about fighting to protect decent pension provision for all public sector workers, but this is also about fighting for decent pension provisions for our brothers and sisters in the private sector. It is about tackling the scandal of pensioner poverty and securing a decent state pension for all. I just want to finish by saying, this is a government that has no mandate. The cracks are already showing. Let's nobody believe that this is some unassailable force that can't be defeated. We must build on the success of today. The trade union movement has to work and build links in communities with pensioners, the unemployed, with students, with disabled, and all those campaigning in communities to defend local services. But we've also got to reach out to the unorganised, some of the most exploited sections of society that don't yet have union protection. And we have to support all trade unionists taking action, and yes, that means when they target any of our reps and officials fighting to defend their members' interests, the full force of the trade union movement must be used to defend every rep and actively fight to support the trade union movement. This, as others have said, is the first wave of coordinated action across the public sector. We hope the government will listen, but if they won't, and we return to the point that if you're in local government, if you're a member of the NASUWT, if you work in health, if you're in the fire service, if you're in the post office, you're going to ask yourself the question, why are we not balloting and taking action alongside our colleagues on the civil service and the teachers and further education? We can build the ground for millions of public sector workers to take action in the autumn, but it's also about raising the question of not just what we're against, but what sort of world do we want to live in? This is a chance for us to start putting a serious alternative for proper public investment into our education system, into the health service, into local services and into the welfare state, into building the homes that people need, for making sure that we invest and create 1 million climate jobs that start to tackle the danger of climate change and create much needed employment. This is about challenging the dictatorship of the markets, the credit rating agencies and the equity and bond traders who dictate to the people of Britain and Europe about what sort of world we have to live in. This is about building confidence to stop the cuts, to defeat this government and to build and prepare the ground for the next wave of action that is almost certainly going to be needed. Thanks for your support today and thanks for listening.